Buddy, what are you doing, pal? Come to see what kind of stupidity we're going to get into today? Well, let's see. Alright, welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. This here is the 70, which we picked up about a week ago. And we were struggling in the last episode, trying to get these wheels off. Well, I went to town and bought this, and brand new heating tip, which is better than all the ones I have that are plugged up with everything. Consequently, what would you think a piece of copper and brass like that cost? Well, the answer is $60. Which, hey, whatever. And I heated this for over an hour, going around and around, side to side, whatever, which way, and it finally moved. So I figured that was a good time to bring you back. Now, in the last rendition of this episode, there were several questions. Number one was, I didn't know that a hydraulic jack will work this way. Well, it doesn't work very well. You have to keep the handle end down for the most part. And in this case, this cheapo Chinesium type jack that I just purchased, it doesn't seem to have the right amount of oil in it. As a matter of fact, I know it doesn't because it fell over in the pickup. The rubber plug fell out and part of the oil's gone. So we need to add oil to it. And you're going to want to use specifically hydraulic jack oil or whatever you have laying around. So that ought to do us pretty good. We'll just keep putting some in there, and that ought to work. Another question was, why don't you use a chisel in the gap and spread it apart there to help you? I've had limited results with that. Yes, that in theory should help, but there's two problems. Number one is finding something that will fit in there good, and number two, keeping it in there. As you go messing around with it, the chisel can fly out like a rocket, and then you take it right to the teeth, and that would not be a pleasant thing. So I usually don't do that. Also, not saying on this type that it would be that way, but on some things, when you go to do that, it actually puts, for some weird reason, pressure in the wrong place, and it actually can kind of like bind you on the other side. That's not the way it's supposed to work, but I've had that problem before on different things, so, you know, it is what it is. But I wasn't sure that it was going to work because it's not making big jumps or anything like that moving. It made kind of a, I don't even know how to describe that sound, like a squeaking sound every time I pumped the jack handle, and then I realized it was moving. So that's what we got going on. And we're doing the best we can with what we got. Another thing that I thought of last time, I said that this puller was built in haste, and it was. I built it kind of in a hurry to get something done. I think it was that 60, because Dad wanted to take it in a parade, and I didn't have, when I bought it, the wheels weren't spaced right, and I thought it looked stupid, so I wanted to move that, and then something or other else. So I built this to do that, and I learned some things about the way I built it. It does work, as you can see, but one thing I should have done was put multiple holes in there so that I could have a hole right on either side of the axle, so they didn't have so much play in it, and then that would maybe help keep it centered up, because if you don't have it centered perfectly, the jack wants to, when it gets under a lot of tension, flip the whole rig down sideways or what have you. But I came up with a better idea than that watching this footage last time and thinking about it. I think I'm going to make another bar for this just to experiment and see about drilling it through like these two holes at some point. And then if you would pull from in those two holes, it wouldn't go anywhere. It would be centered up, and, you know, it couldn't peel it away like what it's doing now. You could actually, you know, I think it would work better. And then I thought, well, maybe I just need to add a set to where I got both pulling that's a possibility too, but I think one would be doing most of the work if you didn't have it adjusted quite right. But hey, you know, what are you gonna do? This is I probably don't have $100 in this rig. The jack was the most expensive piece, you know? So that's what we're doing. We're gonna continue on our way and see what happens. Like I said, you can kind of hear that. Kind of just sounds like a squeaking-ish sound as it pulls down through there. See, our jack lost oil. This is not, I wish there was a better type of hydraulic jack that was made for this, and maybe there is, and I just don't know about it. You know, one that could do this type of jacking on the horizontal. Porta Powers can do that, so why shouldn't this be able to, you know? It all has to do with the way the thing gets its oil, and if you starve that little pump for oil, it just, see there, I got a good one. You got to have it in just the right place to get the oil to it. And I might be out now again. I might have used up whatever I put in there, because I have a feeling it takes more oil to do it this way than it does if you had it straight up and down, because of you know what I'm saying, the way it is. When it's vertical, all the oil is always falling to the bottom, and in this it's laying on the side, so it's taking more than it probably normally would, but it's working. So I'm not gonna complain. I did tap it with a hammer a little bit, but I don't think we're there yet where we can drive it off with a hammer. I do kind of see the end of the axle there, so it might be getting close. But if there's any amount of trying to save this so that I could use it for a yard art decoration, it really needs to be in mostly one piece. So I think I'm going to keep trying to jack it, and then once I've done that, I'll get back to working on this wheel. See, no, I think just using this rig as long as possible is the best choice, and then we will you know what I'm saying. Also, yes, it would probably work better if I was using actual hydraulic jack oil, but as previously stated, I don't have anything on hand, and I found this right away in this convenient bottle with the tip, so we're just gonna go with it. Oil's oil, you know. Some oil's better than no oil. We know that it's warm enough because it's been heated up, and through the art of convection, fancy word, which basically means your spoon gets hot when it's in the pot. You know, if metal objects touch a metal object that's heated, she's gonna get hot. I think the jack's level full, so probably a good place to stop. I don't know that that's the case, but I think I just formed an air bubble of sorts. Come on. Oh. Come on. Well, we might be using the hammer because we might be out of jacking, just because of the nature of the feller. I don't know that I can do a whole lot more about it. If I go this way, it's going to starve it for oil, I would think. But what do I know? So you want your little plunger thing there on the bottom, because you want it to get all your oil. Let's give it a few licks and see what happens. Yeah, I don't think that's moving it at all. It did kind of get looser-ish. I'm struggling to find something handy that would fit in there that I could use as a spacer. Because that would work if I could We're gaining a little. It's not nearly as scary now either, because we're not... When it was getting up to like 40,000 pounds of tension and nothing was happening, it gets kind of where you don't want to really be this close to it. Come on out of there. Now, don't forget, dum-dum, this is burning hot now because it was in that rig whilst we were heating it. You gotta not do something stupid. Okay, how much space do we have to take up? Quite a bit. I somewhere had a 4x4 wood block, and that would be the ticket, I think. That's too much. Hoping that right there will be an adequate amount. So what you're going to want to do is almost immediately cause yourself a problem. I might have ruined this jack, to be quite honest with you. She may jack no more. There we go. I have a feeling I got it too hot and let some of the magic out of it. A good tape measure back there, just fighting. Uh-oh, that don't sound good. That sounds like a jack which has been blown up. Yeah, I think the jack's toast. It ain't designed for what I've been doing with it. It might work though again. You never know. See, now we're not even. But we might be good enough to get her done. Are you with us? I think I bumped you. Hope you can see. After that hard struggle, now we're going. We're getting somewhere. It should get to where it falls off of here. Or at the very least, all we got to do is tap it a few licks and it will. Come on. Should be getting close. There we go. What's it look like? Oh yeah. It'll tap off now. If it doesn't just fall off. It's right to the end. Come on, fall off. Let's jack off. Come on. We went this far. Let's just finish jacking off. All right, I think that's as far as we can go. Because that's all the way. Sweet. Okay. I like how everything's nice and light. But there we have it. Man, that just about broke my average there. So now what we're going to do is put it right back on. But what we're really going to do is clean this up first anti-seize it, slide it back on temporary sake so that I can put this wheel back on and hold it up in the air. We'll get the other wheel busted loose, same process. Then we'll pull the steel wheel one down here and we'll get those pulled off. And that's going to be a trick because this puller does not work good with that. And the reason being is you can't get your two pull arms evenly. The spokes, some of the spokes will be in the way. So that is where I'm going to end up having to do a redesign, I believe, in order to make that happen. But yeah, look at this. There's just enough crud in there that that's what is holding us all the time. Yep. But she's loose, man. And so that is a sigh of relief. It only took 2 days, almost an entire couple tanks of the welding gas, and a lot of jacking. So, yeah. All right, now that we got her cleaned up good, we're gonna smear on some liquid Tin Man here in a liberal dosing, as in screaming about Russia. No, not really, but we're gonna put enough on here that it don't forget that it's not allowed to stick. Probably not what you want when you actually put it on for keeps. I don't know if that would make your wheel slide off. You know, tie rods, they like to pull apart if you grease them, so you shouldn't grease them. But I don't know. We don't want to have to use the puller to get this same one off, see? So we're gonna just grease her. We will clean this off when we put the steel wheel on so that it's not too slippy. But for now, that's the way she's gonna go. And we're gonna see if this hub is cool enough to the touch that a guy could pick it up. I don't know that it will be yet. Still pretty toasty. I guess I could get a welding glove, or I could mess around with this chisel. And just see about it. See, what you're going to want to do, get yourself into a situation. Get on it. Now you won't even go back on there. You piece of garbage. Yes, it is too hot. Too hot to handle. Get on there, you Knutson. Why is it being so cantankerous? Can't possibly be because I didn't clean up the hub at all. I was worried about them slipping off while I was playing with it, moving it around, but I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that. It doesn't seem to want to play nice. You up inside the best I could. Why won't you? Why won't you love me? Come on. There. I have a feeling part of it that it's hanging crooked, like. I'm thinking of leaving her right there myself, but I wanted to drive it on and then drive it back out just so I'd understand the process. Yeah, you get the idea. Alright, this is way more anti-seize than I would ever use on anything, but this is an extreme situation here. See, I want it to be able to slide like that. At the hammer, slide, make a big jump. There. See, that's what I want. We're gonna leave it right there. So the moral of this story is, if you are thinking ever about moving these wheels, you best be doing it before you paint the tractor, because you're gonna burn all the paint off. See, so that's the way she goes, but it's a success, and that's what I'm after. So I'll have to get probably a couple new bolts, because I think those are pretty well toast that we took out of here. If I remember right, one of them self-destructed. One of them would probably hold it though, if I just use this one for now. But what I'm saying is, we'll put those in to clamp it enough so it stays. We'll put the wheel on. We'll move the whole operation to the other side. And then once I got both of those where I know they'll come off, we'll pull the other tractor down here and we'll get to work on it. We got to pull those wheels off, and then we'll decide about the front end later. Some people are gonna say, why don't you just take the engine out and put it in that other one? Well, yeah, I would have done that, but I think that overall, this tractor is better. I think that the rear end is much better. The brake setup is way less worn. I just think that it's easier to take parts off the other one to put them on here in the long run than it is to just switch. You know, I'm afraid once I did all that, I would end up having to switch the transmission, and then you're right back at this same situation. So I'm going to go with it that way. We'll probably still have to pull the motor to get the front end out, but so be it. I mean, like I said, I think that this is a better tractor, and I want to use as much of this tractor as I can. You know, we're using steel wheels off the other one, back fenders off the other one. And like I said, I'd like to put the wide front on, but that's not a have-to situation. If I feel like I've had enough, I can always do that later. I think my parts tractor out in the woods has a front end on it, so if worse came to worse and I wanted yard art, I could take that tractor and put enough pieces on it to make it look like it was complete and use it for what I got in mind. The only bad thing is that tractor, the axles, I sawed them off to get the wheels off of it, because the guy he wanted to keep the wheels, and I couldn't get them pulled off of there. It had steel wheels on it. So that's why I'm saying we're gonna have to re-envision our puller to get those steel wheels off this other one. But we got it on this, and that's one step of the battle. So we got one more of these and two more others to get loose, and then we should be in good shape. And then yes, the steel wheel 60 will have a bigger brother. And that's kind of what I'm operating under, so good deal. Do you enjoy seeing a basic white man in his middle 30s struggling at life? If so, hit that thumbs up and leave us a comment, because all of that stuff is supposed to help us out and grow the channel, and we can keep making more stuff like what you just saw. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.